is an allergy and how do you prevent an allergy and what brings it about. And we're going to be talking about that plus much more. We have an opportunity for you to call in. Yes, this is a program that you have an opportunity to call in if you have other problems and other needs, and we'll be going over the phones in a little bit. But first, I want you to meet our panelists. And would you start by introducing yourself, sir?
I'm Herb Krantman. I'm a pediatric allergist. I have a private practice, and I'm the director of the Pediatric Allergy Clinic at Cardinal Glennon.
Okay.
Barry Zephyrin, also allergist in the Southern Illinois area, and I'm also affiliated with St. Louis University.
Okay.
I'm Howard Druce, and I'm assistant professor of internal medicine at St. Louis University School of Medicine in the Division of Allergy and Immunology.
And I'm Gordon Bloomberg. I'm a practitioner in general pediatrics and in pediatric allergy, and associate professor of clinical pediatrics at Washington University Medical School.
Well, Gordon, we might start with you. How would you define allergies?
Well, a person who has an allergy is a person who has a special sensitivity to certain items which ordinarily would not cause you any harm if you were not allergic. In other words, a person who has an infection builds up an immunity to that infection and fights it off, such as a streptococcal infection or a strep throat. However, ragweed pollen would not cause you any trouble. If you're, however, born with a special sensitivity, which we call allergy, your body reacts to that ragweed in such a way that you actually make yourself sick over it. And because you have a certain kind of immunity to ragweed, you develop symptoms from the reaction of your body trying to interact with the ragweed pollen.
If someone is allergic to a particular thing, Howard, what can they do?
Well, the most obvious thing to do is to try and avoid that which they're allergic to. Now, if you're allergic to ragweed or to any of the pollens that are around in the air, that's sometimes difficult if you're out of doors. And so one thing would be to avoid going out perhaps during that season. The other things that one can do are to reduce the amount of antigens or proteins that you're allergic to in your home environment. Now, people who are allergic, for example, to dust can do that by many ways, by reducing the amount of dust, particularly in their bedroom, by cleaning the house, by removing things that harbor dust, such as thick carpets and heavy drapes. Reduces the amount of exposure to these proteins, to these substances that you're allergic to. If you can't avoid these things, then the next thing to do is to counter their effects in your body, and that means allergy treatment, medications to counteract these reactions that Gordon was talking about.
Barry, when we think of allergies of this type having to do with pollen allergy, you think of people sneezing as a reaction and things, but allergy, it's a much broader field, rashes coming on and all different kinds of side effects?
Well, that's true. Allergies can affect multiple organs in the body. Obviously, the symptoms that we're talking about tonight, which are the more common ones, the ones that people suffer from when they have hay fever, which we describe as allergic rhinitis, the sneezing, the itching that you're referring to. The other manifestation can occur in the lungs in the way of asthma. And then, of course, if one has an allergy to either a food or to a medication, you can have other manifestations involving, again, the lungs, the nose, but also the gastrointestinal tract, the stomach, such as cramping, abdominal pain, and also the most severe reactions affecting the cardiovascular system, the heart, and affecting blood pressure. And getting to your direct question about rashes, there certainly can be a manifestation of an allergic reaction, particularly due to a food or to medication, which manifests itself as hives.
Doctor, we're going to save a real good question for you. We're going to come back after a song here in a moment. We want to involve our viewing audience here to give them an opportunity to find your question. And I want to encourage you to get up and go to the phones right now and you call in with that special question. We do have phone operators that are here, and you can feel free to call in right now. They're here to take any questions or calls that you might have that you would like to have. Well, you'd like to have me ask the doctors here, because I invite you during this program to help co-host this particular program. And maybe you have an an allergy condition, so to speak, or you might have a particular, well, problem or allergic condition, well, I encourage you to call, and this is the time to do it. The phone numbers are 436-2424 in the St. Louis area. Now, it's toll-free anywhere in the state of Missouri, 1-800-334-3276. It's 1-800-334-3276, and as you see on your screen, the Jefferson City area, 896-5105, and toll-free in Illinois, 1-800-242-3276. And how this works is this way. It gives you an opportunity to become directly involved and remain anonymous also. And you can call in here, and the phone operators, they will indeed write down your question, and then we'll come back and ask the doctors about that question. And these phone operators here, they also care very much about your particular needs. One of the operators I have with me is Denver Moore. In Denver, as people call in, we'll not only write up their questions to ask the doctors, but if someone desires special prayer, I'd be happy to help them, wouldn't you?
That's right. Be glad to.
Yes, these people are here because they care about you and your special needs. So I encourage you, if you have a particular question that you'd like to have us ask the doctors, we won't use your name over the air or any way embarrass you. We'll just simply write down the question and involve you in that way in the program. At the same time, if you have another need, a very particular need, I encourage you to feel free to call right now, the numbers that you see right there on your screen, because we do have phone operators here who care about you. And I'll be back talking to these operators a little bit later in this program. But right now, we're going to go to a special song, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to share with you much more things that you can learn, not only to help you if you might be having a condition that you're allergic to something, but maybe you come in contact with someone who is, or a friend, or a relative. Well, this will help prepare you to help not only to understand them, but also to directly help them. So we're going to be back with much more right after this musical selection.